Would you like to give us an introduction about who you are?
Yes, thank you so much. My name is Kizito Kalima. I'm Executive Director of Peace Center for Forgiveness and Reconciliation based here in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I'm originally from Rwanda. Rwanda is a little tiny country located in the east central of Africa, and it was colonized by Belgians. In 1994, we had what we call a genocide against Tutsis.
So what's the definition of genocide? What happened with the genocide?
So normally the genocide, the term genocide comes from, actually it's a Greek word. It's a geno, means humans, and side means elimination. Pretty much was the elimination of a human being. So the genocide against Tutsis was between the Hutus and the Tutsis. So there were Hutus and Tutsis in Twa, and the Hutus were pretty much like a middle class. The Tutsis were elite, and the Twa was like just lower class. But when the Belgians colonized Rwanda, they decided to use this as a part of divide to conquer.
So how did Rwanda change after the Belgians left and after the Hutus became in power?
So once they left, of course, they left the Hutus in charge. But the thing is, the Hutus were not educated enough. They didn't have, pretty much they don't know how to govern, and this led to the vacuum. The Hutus have to be majority in every single aspect of the government, the schools. I grew up in an area where, I knew that it was some sort of a segregation in terms of the Hutus and Tutsis. But of course, it made the people kind of, hate each other. And this led to a lot of tension between the Hutus and Tutsis.
What was your experience with the genocide, and what was those first few days like for you?
So 1994 April, it was actually during Easter break. I was in high school. I was home during Easter break, and I heard on the radio that a president of the country that time has been killed, has been shot. I was kind of excited, but not excited because a human being died, but excited because I knew the whole hatred is over. Because to me, it was a symbol of hatred. It was a symbol of division. And when he was killed, I was kind of excited to some extent. And when I told my mom was like, "Oh, young man, do not get too excited. Because anytime a leader of this country dies, we, meaning the Tutsis, we paid the heavy price." But a couple of days later, I was at home and I heard this like a loud noise, banging on our gate, and people jumping and screaming. So I turned around. I was sitting on the bottom stair of our back porch. I turned around. I saw, soldiers and police officers on top of me with a gun. So they have AK-47. I've never seen a gun in my life, and that was my reality of the beginning of a genocide. So of course, what I did is run away. When I hid across, I just ran and jumped over the fence. When I ran, hid in a banana plantation. There was a lot of banana trees on the other side of the street.
So what happened when you came back to your house after you realized that everything was basically gone?
So of course it was dark. It was almost like 6-7 p.m. and as a teenager, as a young boy, what would you do? So I was just terrified, scared, and the only thing came to my mind is fleeing my neighborhood. And fleeing my neighborhood, I thought if I go to the guy who my dad raised, who was a Hutu, and he lived like at least like 10 miles away where I was living, and I said if I go to his house, maybe I will be safe, and that's what I did.
So once you got to your friend's house, what happened after that?
So I was in his house for at least 3 to 4 days, and when one day somebody saw me inside his compound, and he told the killers that I was there. When this militia went and told his leaders that I was there, so they planned to come and kill me and burn the house on top of me. And they sent a message to this young man who was hiding me that he need to let me go. He need to kick me out. However, because he was a good guy, he was raised by my dad, he was a brother to me. He's still alive and he's like a brother to me. And he refused to kick me out. He said, "I'm going to take you back to your old place. Hopefully people there will spare you because maybe they know you." So in the middle of the night, we decided to go back to my old place. And between my house and his house, there were a small river. We are crossing this river, and the killers on top of the mountain, the hills, they start shouting. They say, "Oh, cockroaches, we found them. Snakes, we found them." So a mob of people, almost like 50 people, came down the hill, running, screaming with the old traditional weapon, with the machetes, the clubs, whatever they can, even the guns and the grenades. So they set up an ambush. So we got caught in an ambush, and what they did is jumped on us, they started hitting us, and I remember one of them grabbed something that looked like a club, and he was about to smash this big old like a baseball bat in my head, and this young man who was protecting me, he jumped and covered him with his body, and they hit his arm, and they broke his arm. His arm just dropped, so he was pushed away, and I was left with the killers. I'm surrounded by a mob of killers. They took me on top of the hill. I'm climbing the hill, and as I climbing this hill, I saw a ditch full of dead bodies. I never seen a dead body in my life, ever. Now I'm scared. I'm terrified. And while I was trying to figure out what was going on, one of the killers turned around and grabbed in my shirt like this, pulled me down, and he grabbed the machete. And he went to chop my head off. I said, the machete coming, I just did this. The machete went all the way up here, and the edge of the machete cracked my little scar open. Went all the way up here and cracked my little scar open, and the blood started gushing out. So now I'm unconscious, I just passed out. And I was dumped on top of the dead bodies. So it's like 7 o'clock in the morning, it's early in the morning. It's raining, slow, it's raining a little bit, and they keep dumping people on top of me. And I stayed there, I was unconscious, I was out of it. When I woke up later on, I found out there was a man, I remember vividly, he was wearing like a maroon shirt, a sweater. He was dying on top of me. So he was still, the blood was still coming out of his mouth, and so I pushed him on top of me, and I tried to move and walk away.
So what happened when you rose out of this ditch, realizing that you were still in fact alive?
So when I woke, I woke up pretty much, I realized I was inside the dead bodies. I was in this ditch, dead bodies surrounded by me, and people still dying, and the awful smell, and the noise, it was just awful. It was like a horror movie. I tried to get up and walk. Realized they have taken off my shoes. They stole my shoes, and they have taken off my jacket, and I've broken my ankles. Now I'm walking on this rocky mountain, just a lot of small rocks everywhere, barefooted. I walked like 50 feet, and I got caught again. In my little mind, my little teenager mind, I thought, I told myself that if I run away, they will shoot me. Because this time you could not even buy a bullet. They will take your money, they will never shoot you. So, and I didn't have money, of course. And I decided to run. So now I'm back in my old neighborhood, and I know all the back alleys. So when I'm running, they chased me, they start shooting, and luckily I didn't get hit. And now I'm heading back to my old place. So in my mind, I just felt like somehow, somewhere, everything's normal. That's a teenager, that's a mind of a young man. But of course, I was hallucinating. I was just, I didn't know what I was doing. So I'm returning to my old place. Of course, nothing was there. My house was destroyed. And I got to my neighbor said, you guys you cannot come here because they're looking for you and your family here because they know we are friends. And she said, if you go to this church, it was Seventh-day Adventist church, which was it was like a mile away where I was. She said, if you go there, hopefully you find other people hiding. So I decided to go to this church.
So what happened when you finally got to the church?
So when I got to this church, I found out my family was still there. My mom was there, my sisters was there, and a lot of my uncles and aunties. But when I got there, my mom could not believe, that I was still alive. This is like a week into the genocide, and when she saw a bloody face and scars, of course, the wound in my face, and with no shoes, and I look awful. I've been out in the jungle for almost a week, never took a shower. I look like just a homeless person. And my mom could not believe it, but she told me that if I ever stay there, I'm going to have everybody killed. She said, everybody's looking for the Kalimas, and your youngest Kalima left. So please do not stay here. Find somewhere to go. One day I heard the mayor of our city calling out with the loudspeaker. So the mayor called out and he said, the war is over and the peace has returned. Everybody come out from hiding. And I would, of course, at this time I was so hungry, honestly. I didn't care if I'm about to be killed because I've given up, honestly. I was waiting to die, but I think to me that the death was taking so long. But I knew I was dead. I knew I was dead. I was pretty much dead. I was like a walking dead person, and I didn't want to leave no more. So the mayor called us, and of course I came out of hiding, and I went to in front of this church, and in front of this church, he got us in the parking lot, and he said, so now follow me at my office. We followed him in this highway, and in the middle of this highway, this journey, he has arranged, or he had planned another warehouse, a butcher house. So he said, oh, you know what? The journey is long. You guys can stay here, and I can protect you from here. But there's another place he have arranged so people can be killed. So the system was, we gather people in one place, we threw a grenade or bomb so people can die quickly. And it was a very easy way to kill a bunch of people. It was very cheap. We stay in that building, and they'll come get people one by one. So on third day, that's where they decided to come and just burn the building. We were outside. I was outside with a bunch of kids playing soccer. Regardless what it was during the conflict, but we were kids. They could not stay inside. We were outside the building, and we saw on the other side of the street a long line of vehicles full of killers coming and chanting and singing and saying, we're going to finish them all. God has given up on them. The cockroaches, the evils, pretty much all kind of, inhumane names they can call you. And I came back running inside the house. I came back running, and I told my parents, everybody was inside. I said, you need to get ready. You're about to die. That's pretty much prepare ourselves to die or to fight back, whatever it was. Well, I don't remember exactly, but I kind of came alert them. When I came inside, of course, people were trying to grab the jacket, whatever they could get, and the building was surrounded. When I realized the building was surrounded by the killers, I just ran through them. I remember running, through the killers and hoping that they're going to shoot me. So they start shooting. They start shooting randomly, and they hit a kid who was on my left side. He got hit in the back. So when he gets shot, the impact of course he dropped. And the impact of the bullet was so loud or so powerful to the point where I felt like I was shot. I fell down too, and I was rolling down, and I found myself in a valley. After 30 minutes, I started feeling like, oh, okay, I'm gonna make it today. So this is not my day. So these people have trained dogs, to hunt human beings. They came and sniffed me out of this bushes where I was hiding. And of course I got caught. So what they did, they tied my little arms on my back and they hold a pistol on my neck, my head here. So they took me back now on top of the hill by the main highway in front of this warehouse where everybody was, was hiding pretty much, was put. So when I got there, so I found out all these cars, all these vehicles just brought the killers that are being loaded with my people. Now they're putting my people in there. The last car was a small red Nissan Dancer. It's like a neon. They opened the trunk of a car. They picked up my mom, put my mom in there, and closed the door. They closed the trunk and drove away. So that is the last time I saw my mom. My mom was taken and was killed and dumped in mass grave. So, mom, and now I'm left alone there because the vehicles, these cars just brought the killer, are full. They said, we don't have a space for you, we don't have a spot for you to put you in, but I'll come get you later on. So I was taken back to the butcher house. In the middle of the night, I realized that they're going to kill me and kill it. I found a bunch of kids in there. I said, you know what, man, let's go. So we opened the back door and we took off. And now we're going different ways. I found myself running by myself, and I found myself in these swamps. You guys know the swamps and the valleys, in marshlands. I stayed in the, in the middle of these swamps. I found this high dry ground. So I stayed there from in the middle of the April until July. So that's pretty much how I survived the genocide, by staying in the swamps for this long until, the rebels which were fighting to stop genocide, as I said, of Rwanda, came and rescued me. So they found me, I was on my last breath and I was pretty much dying, but once they rescued me, they put me in an IV drip, fed me, and after a couple of days I came back, and after I came back, pretty much that's how I realized I'm alone. I'm 100% orphan. And that's how the life became so tough, and that's how I started having, pretty much that's how the whole mental health thing started.